Hello, and welcome back to Stylist Studio Dolls. I'm an adult collector of American Girl dolls with a background in fashion design. And this channel is all about collecting and designing for American Girl dolls. In this video, I'm going to talk about creating doll spaces on a budget for American Girl dolls. I'm going to show you two different display ideas that I created on a budget. The first one is an upcycled piece of furniture, and the second one is all new materials. Here they are. The one on the left is built out of an old shelving unit that was a series of 9 cubbies. It's been used for several different purposes over the last several years, and now it will be a beautiful display for my dolls. The walls can be removed and replaced with other themes. I'll show you how to do this for yourself. The one on the right is made out of a collapsible storage crate, so you can collapse it and store it anytime you like. I'll be giving you exact measurements to create this display. This looks a lot like the first display I made before I modified it, except mine had a solid back covering the entire thing. This is one that's currently available at Target. Mine has different dimensions, so I won't be giving you exact dimensions, but I will tell you how to do the measuring for your own. Here's mine. The first thing I did was remove the top horizontal shelf and the 4 dividing shelves. As you can see, I added a support to the middle of this. This was only temporary, and I will explain it in a little bit. The first thing I did after removing the shelves was flip the unit over. This was because I decided I wanted to add wheels. So in order to add wheels, you will need a drill, screws, the wheels, and I used little blocks of wood. I did this partly because my screws were too long, but also because I wanted to boost it up a little bit. If you decide to add wheels, you'll want to pre-drill for your screws. Make sure to mark your drill bit so you don't drill too deep and go through the entire unit. Alright, so back to this picture. This has the wheels on it. I noticed that the middle was sagging on every level, so I added a 5th wheel to the middle. Then I added the support in the middle, and I let it sit for about 2 weeks. Gravity did its job, and after about 2 weeks, all 4 corner casters were solidly on the floor, and the sag was gone. After troubleshooting that problem, I replaced the flimsy cardboard backing on the unit with some wooden planking I had on hand. It's a 1/4 inch thick, so if you use something like this, make sure to use tiny nails or brads. After attaching the backing, I stained it with a white stain, just one thin coat. This is the back of the unit, but I use it as a stage for my girls. I just put a little platform in front of it, and it makes a great backdrop. So that's the back, and here's the front. So this is part of why I put it on wheels, because I wanted to be able to use both sides. The other reason is that when I built my studio, I wanted a lot of natural light. And I got it. I have a lot of windows. The problem is that natural light can fade and damage dolls. So I needed a way to hide them from the sun. So when they're not on display, I can turn the unit around and face it toward the wall, and they'll be protected from the sun. Now that the structural part is done, it's time to decorate. The first thing I did was put flooring in the display part of the shelf. This is some leftover flooring I had from when I built my studio. Even though it's called glue down vinyl, you actually don't have to glue it down. It has enough weight that it stays where you put it, and it's great because you can cut it with a utility knife. So if you can get your hands on some remnants of this, I highly recommend it for displays. Okay, next I'm going to explain to you how to measure for your walls. By walls, I mean foam board, which you can change out to change the decor of your display. So the first step is to put flooring down. This is optional. The second step is to measure the back wall from side to side and top to bottom. You'll want to cut your foam board to this exact measurement. You want it to fit tight so that the tension holds it in and you don't actually have to attach it to the back wall of your unit. The third step is to measure the side wall from side to side and top to bottom. Then subtract the thickness of the back wall from the side to side measurement. Another way to do this is to put in your back wall and then measure the side wall from side to side and top to bottom and use that exact measurement. I hope that makes sense. Here are the supplies you'll need. Foam board, I needed 2. Contact paper, again I needed 2. An X-Acto knife, a cutting mat, a metal ruler, ribbon, glue, and scissors. I'll explain why you need the bottom 3 in a moment. My cost was $5 plus tax because I only needed the foam board and the contact paper. If you don't have an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat, consider this an investment and get it for this project. There is a little learning curve using an X-Acto knife blade, but once you get the hang of it, it is so much easier than trying to use scissors for projects like this. This video is made for adults. If you're a child, please ask a grown-up for help with this. All right, we're going to start by putting the contact paper on the side walls. You're going to want to put your contact paper face down and lay your wall on top of it. Then you're going to want to allow about 1 inch on each of the sides and about 1/4 inch on the top and bottom. Cut around your wall with an X-Acto knife. Next, you're going to want to peel back the contact paper just about 1 inch and fold it back. You do not want to cut this lip off, just fold it back. Then take your wall and line it up, remembering to leave about 1/4 inch there. This 1/4 inch just gives you some fudge in case you do go off a little bit, so that you will be sure to cover the entire thing. After you've pressed that down firmly, turn it over and press it down again. Make sure there are no air bubbles. Then arrange it in whichever direction is easiest for you. I had to flip mine. Pull back the contact paper and grab that lip. Then as you pull that lip, smooth the contact paper down the board. I'm going to skip some of this, but you want to just do this slowly to the end and check it one more time for bubbles. Then you're going to flip it over and you're going to use your X-Acto knife to trim the top and bottom sides. You want to cut right along the foam board. Try not to cut into the foam board, just use it as a guide. All right, now you'll see why I left 1 inch here. We're going to pull up and pinch this down on the back. Now you want to skip around like I'm doing. If you try to do it from left to right, you'll most likely get creases in it. You want to sort of tack it down and then kind of skip around going back and forth until the whole thing is smoothed out. We wrapped this around the sides because you can see the sides of the walls when it's installed in the unit. And this way, the edge has contact paper on it as well. Here's how the side looks when it's finished. For the back, I'll need to use 2 pieces of contact paper to cover this, so I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. You're going to start it out the same way, by measuring around your contact paper. You're going to allow about 1/4 inch of fudge on all 3 sides. The reason being we're not going to wrap any of these sides because they won't be visible in the back piece. So you're going to roll this on and then trim all 3 sides. Then you're going to line it up again, making sure that that edge overlaps the first piece of contact paper by about 1/4 inch. Then you're going to trim around the piece 1/4 inch on all 3 sides and roll it on again. After you've turned back your piece and done the initial sticking and you turn it right side up, make sure that the contact paper is going to cover the whole seam before you roll it out. This is an optional last step that I like to do. Cut 2 inches of ribbon, fold the ribbon in half and glue it to itself. Then glue it to the upper corner of your back piece. You'll see what this is for in just a moment. All right, let's put it all together. First, I'll finish putting in my flooring here. Then we'll put in the back piece. You can see that little tab in the corner. That's because when you shove this in there, it's really hard to get it out again. And with that little tab, you can just reach up and pull that, and you can pull this out easily. And that way you can put more contact paper on the other side and make it reversible, or you can put all new boards in for an entirely new look. Now on to the side pieces. Now, as I said, the tension should sort of hold these in, but if you don't cut it to the exact measurements and it wants to kind of fall out, that's okay. You can use a little double-sided tape or even tape rolls to hold it in there. They won't be strong enough to stop you from pulling it off if you want to replace it. So you can see where those wrapped edges show. And the last step is to add some girls. I would like to add some little floorboards to this, little baseboards at some point, but we'll see. And I'm also planning to make doll stands, which will be in a future video. All right, so on to the other display. For this one, you will need an Instacrate collapsible storage crate. I got mine at Costco for $9, but they have them on their website for $40. I just wanted to let you know because I've seen these places for close to $20, and I just wanted to let you know that you really should be able to get them for $10, maybe $12. You'll also need 3 foam boards. That's because we're doing not only the back and side walls, but also the ceiling and the floor. I used 2 white and 1 black. You'll also need 1 to 2 rolls of dollar store contact paper. You can get by with 1, but as you'll see on my left wall, there is a seam running down the middle. So if you don't want a seam, just go ahead and get 2 rolls of dollar store contact paper like I should have. You'll also need an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat. So, because I had an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat, I only paid $15 plus tax for this entire project, including the collapsible storage crate. I'm really excited about this one because now that I've done all the calculations, it's easy for me or anyone to duplicate this. Use these measurements when you're cutting your pieces. And then place them in this order. The ceiling, then the back wall, then the side walls, then the floor. If you follow these directions, you will not have any problems building this. All right, so here is a video of how easy it is to assemble and disassemble this. Here's the Instacrate collapsed. And this is how it goes together. And the sides sort of snap into place. For this project, obviously, we're going to stand it up. Just a little side note here, I'd like to apologize for the big blob of light in the upper left-hand corner. The sun was setting, and I didn't realize it till I was in editing that it would cause so much light. I never have a problem with light coming in from that window, but there it is. All right, so first the ceiling goes in, and then the back wall. The back wall will sort of hold up the ceiling while you grab the side pieces. This is why it's so important to put this together in the correct order, because the back wall holds the ceiling up and then the side walls hold up the ceiling and keep the back wall toward the back, and then the floor goes in and holds the side walls and the back onto the sides. There is a little lip on this storage unit on the left and right, which is really nice because it actually hides the edges of the walls. So that would make this the perfect time to make these walls reversible because you don't really see the edges. You do see the edge, however, on the floor, which kind of drives me crazy because I just used black foam core. I think I will do a contact paper on that eventually. So the last thing is to put the doll in, and she fits really nicely. She only has about an inch of clearance above her head, but it works. Now I'll show you how easily it disassembles. So the floor comes out, the walls come out. I did not use little ribbon tabs on these walls, although you certainly could if you want to make it a little easier to take them out. But there are so many sort of nooks and crannies in this storage bin that if you just kind of get your finger in one of those, which I'm about to figure out here, if you just get your finger in there, you can easily pop them out. Okay, so all the pieces are out. And as you saw at the beginning of this video, you could collapse the crate and you could store it flat, or you could do it this way and put all the pieces into the crate and still have all this space for more wall options or even some clothing. Just don't put anything heavy on top of this foam board. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And let me know if you think you may take on this project. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit the notification bell if you so desire. I post once a week, usually on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I do this because these dolls make me smile. I hope a doll makes you smile today too. Take care.